Good morning, Rabbi Isai.
Good morning, Eli. Good morning.
How's everybody doing? Yo, we're starting Shiur, okay? Gary, is Gary on? Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Today's Shiur is being sponsored by our great friend from Borough Park, Rabbi Yisrael Goldstein. There's still some people that are unmuted for whatever reason. Rabbi Yisrael Goldstein, in memory of my late mother, Chanayenta Bas Reb Nisan HaKoyen, Hey Elul, and Ephraim ben Tzion ben Aaron, the Neshama should have an aliyah. Sponsored by our new friend from South Africa, Ian Meltzer, for Akaras HaToiv. Oh, HaToiv. HaToiv. To Hashem. My spelling problem. And Shkoyach, Eli, you're a great man. Shkoyach, Reb Ian. Hope you make a Siyum in Eruvin with us. Started with Eruvin. Bezrat Hashem, we'll see you at the Siyum. Way to go, South Africa. First email from Dov Erich. Reb Dov. Where's Reb Dov? The one day that I'm reading his email is not on. Okay. Dear Rav Eli, I've been in several Daf Yomi in my life, but since I missed more classes than I attended, I never really felt part of the group. So much so that when the last two Siyum Shas happened, I didn't attend them because I felt I didn't earn being there, like I was an imposter amongst such elegant Talmidim. Until I discovered your Daf classes. What did it do for me? At your first class in Brachas, you explained it's not about the Daf, it's about the Yomi. That idea hit me like a ton of bricks. It was an eye-opener for me to realize I didn't have to go back to class I missed in order to go forward. In the past, when I tried to make up back classes, I fell so far behind. That's another idea, but similar. Okay, I fell so far behind, I just gave up completely. For a compulsive guy like me, that saying about the Yomi got me hooked to your Shiur. I was at the scene for Brachas and Shabbos and felt like I really belonged there. And with Hashem's help, isn't Dov the guy that was in Hawaii during the Siyum Hashas? Wasn't that him with the Hawaii gear? No? Anybody? Yosef is saying yes. Okay, good. And with Hashem's help, I hope to be with you at the next Siyum Hashas, even if it's on a boat and I get seasick. As long as you bring along air sickness, it should be okay. Sincerely, Dov Erich, Yishkoch Dov. One more from...
The sponsorships more for the camera.
Oh, thank you. Let's see. Okay, turn this a little bit. No. But then my whole thing is off. Okay. It doesn't look like you could see it here. It's a little... The lighting is off. Oh, that's better. Dear Eli, I can't believe that you're the brainchild of the Chicago Mishnah Berurah calendar. Not really. Okay. You know what? The idea is one thing. The implementation of the idea is 99% of the thing. My father-in-law did the whole push. What a schos. I've been doing a daf a day with them for many years. I'm not sure, maybe 13, 14 years. I picked up one of the small booklets in my shul and began. My wife thinks that this is at least my 5th cycle. We're making a Siyum in November. Oh, I know his wife. His wife is that woman who does the Navi for women on the WhatsApp. Please thank your father-in-law for me and tell him, I don't know her, I just heard about her. For me and tell him what an amazing program it is, what a great schus he has. Hashem should give you both, you and him, and the time mishpacha, much bracha and strength to continue with the tremendous work, Eliezer. This is the main part of the email. P.S. I disagree about the Chumash here. You should only give it if it won't take away from you preparing the daf. Thank you. Finally. They make them smart over there in Houston, Texas. Your main focus has to be how to give it over in the clearest way. I cannot imagine that a Chumash here won't compromise your prep on the daf. He's 100% correct. It would. Therefore, I think you should decline. Coming from Leon. Leon is the one who's telling me, drop the night chair, you don't need this in your life. And now he's telling me, but do a Chumash here. Okay, listen. Each in their own. Leon is good. Yeah.
Move up the sign on your left-hand side a little bit. It's kind of glared a little bit.
I can't move it up. It only has one, maybe I'll move it. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Maybe we could do this.
Okay, it's an angle.
Yeah. No, it's because the sun is probably shining from that. Let me see if this works. Oy, oy, oy. How about this?
Hold it during the whole time during the shiur.
This is also. Oy, oy. Yisrael is a. I see Meltzer. That's what I see.
Eli, you also have a new guy recruited by the Brooklyn Chesed called Yochanan from Williamsburg.
Yochanan from Williamsburg. Ooh, that's a good one. You know why? Because by the Siyum, we're going to have a Siyum in Williamsburg. We're supposed to have a Siyum in New Square. I don't know if that worked out. There's a Chassidish guy that uses our charts, this, that, but... All right, Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Yochanan.
It's still not good, but...
I know, what are you going to do? You know what? I need these charts over here are more important. Let's see if I can get my chart.
Maybe you could start out the shiur with learning Eruvin for 15 minutes, and then we could do emails and charts for 45.
We heard that time before, and then we would have a shiur the size that we had before the emails, which is 20, 30 people. Says, everybody comes to the emails now, you don't understand. Says the Heilige Gemara, we're holding, why? We're doing okay, it's 7:21, 5 minutes in, 6 minutes in. 1 minute was to readjust the glare on the thing. The neshamas are going to have an aliyah with the glare, without the glare. Everything's good. And that Karsa Tov to Eli, I looked at it, I stared at it for 25 minutes this morning, and I already got that anah. And now during the day I'll stare at it again. Rabbi said we're holding Toshma. The bottom of Tes Vav Amud Beis, today's Daf Tes Zayin in Eruvin. Toshma. We had a shaila. What if the solid mechitza is the same exact size as the ear space? 50-50. What's the halacha? Rav Papa says it's okay. Rav Shua says it's not okay. Rav Papa brings a raya from our Mishnah, and in fact, we're going to stick with that raya from our Mishnah that it's okay. That's at the end of the sugya. But until we get there, until we arrive there, we have to go through some hoops. Says the Gemara Toshma, Shayar shechansa bebika, vikefu begmalim ubu So guys are on their way. It's a shayara, it's a convoy, a caravan, and they stop for the night. They stop for Shabbos. This is taken from Kol HaLashon. Beautiful picture again. If you look closely, they take all their stuff off. Pillows right over there in the corner. Then they have the camels themselves. They have the saddles. They have all the stuff. And they create a wall, and they want to be able to carry within their encampment. Ba'avitin are pillows. B'shlifin, some sort of boxes and stuff. B'kanim, reeds. B'kalachais, vegetables. Metadim toicha. So you could create a wall, a mechitza with all your stuff. Ubevechli bin gamal legamal kimeloi gamal. This is a huge problem for Rav Papa, because it says, as long as it's not 50-50. It says, you shouldn't have between a camel and a camel the size of a camel. In other words, you can't have a camel that takes up 10 feet, or let's call it 5 feet, better, 5 feet, and then I know a camel's not 5, but just for argument's sake, 5 feet a camel, 5 feet ear space. You cannot have 50-50. It says, and you can't have a saddle and then an ear space the size of a saddle. But Rav Papa says 50-50 is okay. Over here it says it's not okay. And between a pillow and a pillow, what's Rav Papa going to do? Similar to the exact same answer we said by Schach yesterday, the ear space for the camel. You have a camel sitting down on the ground. That camel is 5 feet long, wide. Okay, makes more sense. 5 feet wide. And your ear space is 5 feet. Why? Because you want to put another camel in there. But in order to put another camel in there, you can't have something that's exactly 5 feet. It has to be 5 feet and 2 inches, so it can fit in nicely. You should be able to pull it out and put it back in, right? Pretty soon you want to put the next camel in there. Well, if you want to put something that's exactly 5 feet, you can't give it exactly 5 feet. It won't fit. It's going to be really difficult to fit it in. So therefore, the ear space is actually larger than the solid. We call it the same, but physically it's not the same. That's what Rav Papa says. At the end of the day, the reason why this is possible is because you gave it another inch. So it's actually 51%. And 51% is a problem, says Rav Papa. But if it would be exactly 50-50, it would be mutter. It says over here, ben gamel legamel kim loy gamel, but normal people, when they make space for a gamel, they don't do exactly a gamel, they do a gamel plus an inch. And that's why it's a problem. Tashma. All right, Rabbi said, don't fall asleep here. We need to pay attention now because this is going to take us down to the bottom of the Amud. Try to make it as simple as possible. We have 3 rules. Rule number 1 is lavud. This is a simple rule. Even if your sticks, you put sticks separated by ear space. Now, if you look, there's a lot more ear space than sticks, than salad.
Your mom.
Oh, Yishkoyach. Wow. All I need is Noam, Eli Dykman, and Avi Kamiansky. Nobody else cares. Kidding. Don't get insulted and leave the shiur now. You know those guys that start the shiur the second day and they write me this email. You're so mean. You said this. Just stick around for 2 days. You'll get the humor. Okay. Over here you have a stick every less than 3 tefachim. This, halachically, is a solid piece. Solid. As long as a goat can't go through it, it's less than 3 tefachim. This is called lavud. But this is a big chiddush because you have way more ear space than salad. So rule number 1 is everything is mutter as long as the space between everything is less than 3. Rule number 2 is everything is asur. Why? Because this gap, the ear gap between the pieces of wood is larger, greater than the salad. Okay? So, in this case, now we're talking about, by the way, I forgot to mention, we're talking about klayim. We know about klayim. We even said Eruvin and klayim are the same word. Eruvin means to mix up, klayim to mix up. So, if I have vines on the other side of this fence, I cannot plant vegetables in the front of this fence. Even by these pieces of wood, because these pieces of wood are less than 4 tefachim wide, and the gap is more than the piece of wood, so you don't have lavud, and you can't plant by the wood because the wood is less than 4. You can't plant in between the wood. Of course, you can't plant in between the wood because there's no mechitza there. So the whole thing is asur. And finally, we have a third rule. Excuse me. If this piece of wood is so large that is 4 tefachim wide, so 4 tefachim is so significant that I can plant vegetables on this side of the wood. You see this check mark over here? I can plant vegetables there, but I cannot plant vegetables in between the wood. So in between that, so this is an in-between case. You have a case where everything is mutter to plant. I can plant throughout this whole fence. I can't plant anything, and I can plant half and half. By the wood I could plant, by the gap I can't plant. Now let's see it inside. We're talking about klayim, and there's 3 different rules when it comes to a wall. It's kedai if you have a pencil or something. It might be kedai to pull out your pencil and mark in the Gemara the different lashon in Gemara that could go like Rav Papa or could go like Rav Huna. It goes back and forth. Kol shu pachas mishloisha tzarich shelo yeh ben zeh lezeh shloisha. If the pieces of wood are less than 3, so you need that between the wood there should be less than 3 tefachim. That is called lavud. We said and we know. You go to the restaurant, you see that on Sukkot they have a piece of string, and every 3 tefachim, less than 3 tefachim, there's a string, and you could, even though it's very thin, you could fill in the gap with lavud. Standing next to another vertical beam, we don't care how wide that beam is, even if it's very thin, as long as the air space between the 2 beams is less than 3, I fill in the gap with a halachic lavud. So there's the concept of lavud, and I have to make sure lavud doesn't work if a goat could make it through there, because then physically you don't have a mechitza. So there's no goat and there's lavud, so everything is great. So Again, once again, the big chiddush is, even though it's parutz meruba la'omed, even though there's a lot more ear than salad, it works because of lavud. Now, kol shu shloisha, but if the piece, the salad piece, is 3 tvachim, umishloisha ad arba, it's actually from 3 all the way to 4, but less than 4, because 4, as we see, 4 is very significant. That's where the significant wall comes. We had it a number of times in the Masechta. 4 tfachim is very significant. But over here we're talking about less than significant, from 3 to 4. Ear space between whatever wood you have should not be the size of the wood. You can't have that the open ear space is more than the standing. But what does it say here? You should mark this if you have a pencil. It says mafurish that the ear space should not be like as the salad. It shouldn't be 50-50, it says here. You have to make sure 50-50 doesn't exist, because 50-50 is no good. Problem according to Rav Papa, who says 50-50 is good. So, in this chart right over here, in Halacha Aleph, it says, Shaloye parutz ke'omed, meaning 50-50 is no good. And we're going to see in a second that 50-50 is good. Ve'im haya parutz meruba ala'omed. This is going to tell me that 50-50 is good. Because it says, however, if there's more ear space than salad, af keneged ha'omed aser. Then, even, so in this case right over here, if you have more open space than salad, this is the middle case, where you have a piece of wood that's 3 tvachim but less than 4 tvachim, but the ear space is wider than the salad, then you can't plant anywhere. You can't plant by the wood, and certainly not by the ear space. But it says if it's more, if the ear space is more, then you can't. Mashma, that if the ear space is exactly like the wood, you would be able to plant there. That's 50-50 is mutter. So that's another problem we have. Here, it says, Im haya parutz miruba, if the ear is greater than the salad, aloy, also then you can't plant. Mashma, I just stuck that in. It doesn't say this in the Gemara. 50-50 is okay. It's only because it's miruba. The ear space is more than it's aser. But mashma that if it's 50-50, it's okay. And a second ago we just said 50-50 is aser. So this whole brisa needs explaining anyway. It's a Mishnah. Right? Mishnah Klein. Says the Gemara. Now finally, Vimhaya parts miruba ala oimed, af keneged oimed aser. Listen to this. In this case, when you have more ear than salad, what happens? The ear overtakes the salad. It's mevatel the salad. So it's as if you don't even have a salad piece. So therefore I can't even plant. That's why there's an X, a red X, by the salad pieces. I can't plant my vegetable right over here because I have vines on the other side, and that's kalayim. Final halacha. Kol shuar ba. But if these pieces of wood are significant, they're 4 tfachim wide, and all the way significant to the point that they're up to 10 amos, you need to make sure that the gap between them is not larger, the ear space is not larger than the salad. So now this is a problem again. It says you're not allowed to have 50-50. So once again, this is a problem of Rav Papa. Here, in the second and the third halach, they call this the seifa. Im haya oimed meruba ala parutz mutar, 50-50 is aser. If they're exactly Vimhoya parutz ka'imed, and if it's the ear space is the same size as the salad, keneged oimid mutar, keneged haparutz asur. So here's the third halacha. If you have a large piece of wood that's more than 4 tefachim, it's significant, you can plant, you can plant right in front of the piece of wood, but you cannot plant in the gap. However, if the salad, like in this picture, don't look at the side, if the salad is greater than the ear space, then you could plant in the gap. What's the halacha, Rabbi? So we all know this halacha. If the gap is more than 10 amos, asur, according to Rashi, the whole place is asur. Tosfos says, wait a minute, there's a Mefurish Mishnah that says that if you have a 4 tefach pole somewhere, then you can plant by the 4 tefach pole in front of it. Why are you telling me the whole thing is asur? Fine. The Kronim, we had this halacha as well. This is the halacha of Tzuras HaPesach. Recall this? The Kronim, it's a doiker. It has a point at the end, so you could shove it into the ground, and you make a Tzuras HaPesach. This is like a door jamb. You put a vine from side to side. This works in Klayim only. We said, right? We had the whole Shiur. There's a work on Shabbos as well. Even a greater gap than 10, it's okay. I can plant on the other side of that Tzuras HaPesach. Now the Gemara goes through it. What did we learn in the Reisha? In the second halacha, we learned that if the piece of wood is from 3 tefachim to 4, a little less than 4, as long as the gap between them shouldn't be the size of the wood. To the Rav Papa, because Rav Papa says 50-50 is okay, and over there it's mashma, the 50-50 is not okay. So he's going to say the same answer they said before, that it's not 50-50, it's actually 50-51. The reason why it's puzzle is because it's a little bit greater than 50, because you have to have a little bit of room to maneuver your thing to put it in and out, take it in and out. So it's 51. That's why it's possible. 50-50 would be okay. And I'll prove it to you, says Rav Papa. Just continue reading. Look at the green right over here. From the next line is mashma, the 50-50 is okay. So I'm good, says Rav Papa. Says Rav Huna, but continue reading, and it's mashma, 50-50 is not okay. So Rav Huna is okay. So what do? Okay, so the Reish is mashma like Rav Papa, the Sefer is mashma like Rav Huna, and everybody goes home. Everybody's okay. 50-50 is okay. Shema Mino. So that's a bomb question on Rav Huna. Keep on reading. A lot of times we have that. The ratio of the Mishnah is mashma. This is why the Sefer is mashma. The Gemara says you can't do anything about it. You can't bring any rayas. Same over here. It's mashma that if it's 50-50, it's asur, like Rav Huna and a kasha Rav Seifa kasha Rav Papa. Reishi kasha Rav Huna. This green checked mashma that 50-50 is okay. That's a big kasha on Rav Huna, and the Seifa this mashma that 50-50 is not okay. Is a kasha on Rav Papa. What do you do? Seifa Rav Papa like kasha. I'll explain to you. I did the Tana Reisha parts merubah la'omed. Look at the lashon here. Parut meruba ala oimed. It says that lashon, so therefore it has to use a similar lashon oimed meruba ala parut. Even though it's not accurate and it's problematic to Rav Papa, but it's better. Wow, that sun. Something changed in the weather here. The sun is coming right through the direct window thing. Okay, but you see how the lashon is similar. Parut meruba, oimed meruba. It has to read nicely, says the Gemara. Yeah, the Sefer is a little problematic halachically, but it reads well according to Rav Papa. It feeds off the Reisha. So poetically, it's good. But he didn't really mean it. So Rav Huna says the same exact thing. I'm more concerned about the Seifa, that's my bigger chiddush. They see from the Seifa that 50-50 is no good, and that's what I'm trying to bring out from this whole Mishnah over here. So mainly the Reisha also poetically mimics the Seifa, even though it's off halachically. Now, the Gemara says, but wait a minute. Bishlam el Rapapa, mishum hachi lo arev lehu v'tanilu. So it makes sense according to Rapapa that there's a Reisha, there's three halachas. Because what if you have exactly three? Exactly three, 50%. So I'm telling you halacha. Halacha A is exact. If you have three, it's okay, it's kosher. So that's halacha A. Halacha B is that if it's parotz merubah omed, it's not okay. Fine. But if the airspace is 3 and the piece of wood is 3, it's okay. So it makes sense. We have two separate halachas. But according to Rav Huna, 50-50 is possible. So just say one long halacha. They're identical halachas. The first part of the Mishnah and the second part of the Mishnah. El Rav Huna b'reder Yeshua l'Arvinu v'lisninu kol shepachos mishloisha u'shloisha tzorch shlei ben zelazeh shloisha. If it's less, if the piece of wood is less than 3, you have to make sure that you don't have a gap between them that's 3. Says Gemara, no. Mishum delay dami psul the reisha psul the seifa. Because we're trying to bring out two different points. Yes, the outcome is the same, they're both possible. But the reisha, the reason why it's possible is because there's no lavud. We're trying to tell you the halach of lavud. And the seifa I'm trying to tell you about oimed merubah aparat, or that if they're equal in space, it's possible. But it's a different type of halacha. One is a lavud halacha, and one is oimed merubah aparat halacha. So that's why I broke it up into 3 rules. The 2 different rules, the rule of lavud and the rule of oimed merubah aparat, even though the outcome is the same. So I couldn't shove them into one halacha because I wouldn't know the idea of lavud. I wouldn't know the idea of oimed merubah aparat. The psul of the reisha is that the goat shouldn't be able to go in there, meaning lavud. So now the Gemara just goes off on a side issue. The idea that lavud is less than 3, who says that? That's what we typically understand, and that's Rabbanani. You don't say lavud from 3 and up. Ema Seifa. What about the end of the Mishnah? It says, right? That piece of wood, that large piece of wood, or the second case, this piece of wood right over here, this case, not this case, from 3 to 4. Now, that seems to be Reb Shimon Gamliel. So, we don't like when the Mishnah starts off as Rabbanon and finishes off as Reb Shimon Gamliel. 2 different Tanai. Ema Seifa, Kol Shu Shloisha, Umeshloisha V'Adarba. I saw in Reb Shimon Gamliel, the Omar, Pachos Marba, Lavud. We're not going to go into Taisvas and everything else here, but we're doing Daf Yomi, so we'll just try to understand it in a simple. So it seems like it goes according to Reb Shimon Gamliel that you could do Lavud up until 4, so the ear gaps match up to 4. The Irabanan Mishloisha Vadarba, it shouldn't say Mishloisha. Shloisha Rabba Chadu, it's 1 shear. Once you hit 3, that's it. What's Mishloisha Vadarba? And we just turned to Daf Yomi Beis, sponsored Lilu Nishmas, Roiza Bas Ben Yomin, and a reminder that everybody should choose to have a great day. I don't know if we're going to allow these sayings anymore. We'll let it slide for this month. I schmoozed with the sponsor yesterday, a crazy story, crazy life story. Started off in Eretz Yisrael, moved to Muncie, a whole story. Adopted v'chulu. I would like to dedicate, and the second sponsor is by Dr. Listhouse, Lilu Nishmas Mordechai Yosef ben Aaron Listhouse. Fine. Zok the Gemara. Asal Reb Shimon Gamliel, the Rabbanon Mishloisha, yeah. Chad, Omer Abai. Mid-Reisha Rabbanon, Sefer Nami Rabbanon. So it only makes sense to say that the entire thing lines up. It's either all Rabbanon or all Reb Shimon Gamliel. You can't say the Reish is one and the Sefer is the other. Says Abaye, Umayder Rabbanon, they call it Mishra Kenegdoi, in order for you to be able to plant opposite, right in front of a piece of wood, and not in the gap, as we explained. You need to have a Mokam Chashav, it has to be significant. 4 Tfachim is significant. You're right, Lavud is until 3. But in terms of significance, you need 4. That's a whole different halacha. And that's why it says 4. Rav reverses it. No, the whole thing goes according to Reb Shimon Gamliel. And this we had before. When does Reb Shimon Gamliel say Lavud is up until 4? When you're up in the sky somewhere. In other words, like a kaira. We had halacha, 2 kairas about to touch each other. According to Reb Shimon Gamliel, you could have a gap of 4 tfachim. Why? Because up there, there's no issue of goats going through. It's not a mechitza that we have to be concerned of a goat. Down below, we have to be concerned of a physical problem that you're not protecting your property. Goats are coming in. So therefore, even Reb Shimon Gamliel, we had this before, will agree that there's no 4 tfachim anymore when it comes. Yes, halachically, Lavud is 4 tfachim, but the goat overcomes the 4 tfachim. Then you don't say Lavud. It takes away the halach of Lavud because physically you don't have a mechitza. Tashma, it reminds me. I mean, I just thought about it now, and I hope I don't get a lot of flack over this. But like, for instance, if you have to have a mechitza in a shul, let's say, so you don't see the women, so you'll say halachically you have a Lavud mechitza, but it doesn't work because there's no tznius. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the mechitza is trying to accomplish something and you don't have that, it doesn't help me love it all day long, love it. But at the end of the day, there's no tznius. Over here, if I'm trying to accomplish that a goat doesn't come in, that I have some privacy, who cares? Halachically, it's together, but it's not together. A goat could come through. So when do I say 4 tfachim is okay? When it's up in the sky somewhere. Tashma,
There's some shuls that use that svara for their machitzas.
Glass. All these things, exactly. So I don't want, if there's somebody from that shul watching, I don't want to email from him now. I think Moshe Feinstein was matter or something like that. 10 tefachim. All these things, that's the whole shaila. 10 tefachim, how's 10 tefachim going to help? People are told, I'm not going into it. I'm just saying, as an example, to expand your understanding of this. Tashma, but you guys remember, the entire fence was made out of windows, and we said windows doesn't mean glass, because glass is a real mechitza halachically. It means openings of windows, openings of doors. Does it Tzuras HaPesach work? It doesn't work. Ubevad, it says over there, yeah?
Gazebo, you said.
Oh, that's right, gazebo, thank you, the gazebo. Yeah, that was a good example. Ubevad she'oimed meruba al aparos. So, the halacha is you have to make sure that the solid is more than the airspace. You just said the whole thing is windows, and then you say, but most of it is solid. It doesn't mean the whole thing, it means you put many windows, many doors. It says mafurish, not like Rav Papa. Hakaparitz also. It says you have to have a more solid than air. It can't be 50-50. If it's 50-50, it's not good, not like Rav Papa. Rabbi is saying in 2 seconds we're going to be in another Masechta, and this whole sugya, if it went over your head, it's okay. We're starting fresh. Hakaparts also, Tiyufta Rapapa, Tiyufta. Now, yesterday we had Kasha, and I said the Kasha is a very weak one. Tiyufta is a bomb one. This is a bomb Kasha. We have a bomb Kasha and a Papa that's not like Rav Papa. And says the Gemara, I don't care about your Bam Kasha, Nevertheless, the Allah is like Rav Papa. As the Gemara to Yufta Vilchasa, you just had a Bam Kasha from a Braisa, and you tell me that Allah is like Rav Papa in Mishum the Daike Masnisin Gavosei, because at the end of the day, the Mishnah says exactly like Rav Papa, and what's stronger? A Mishnah is stronger than a Braisa. You're right, the Braisa have no way out of. The Snan, it says in our Mishnah, Lo yu protzos yiseres min ala binyan, that the openings, the gaps, the airspace shouldn't be more than the solid. Binyan mutter is mashman, our Mishnah 50-50 is okay, and that's why the halachas like our Papa have a great day. Maybe this is what they decided that the Eruvin is a little difficult. Fine. 1 out of 15 daf is a little, it's okay. We can handle it. Says the Mishnah. Rabbi Yochanan, Vasatzach from Borough Park. I have to take a little break here. Shalom Aleichem. I just did a search yesterday. I don't know why. I wanted to see how many times it says Rabbi Yochanan in Shas. That's not him? I can't hear. Williamsburg. You're right. Williamsburg. Yochanan from Williamsburg. Wow. So I think Rabbi Yochanan is brought down like 2,500 times in Shas, something like that. Zog the Gemara. Makif in Shloisha Chavolim. I was just bored. I wanted to see how many times it says Rav, Abaya. Rav obviously way more than Abaya, but then I told you there's 50 something different Ravas, so I couldn't really get a good gauge. But Rabbi Yochanan, you probably could get a good gauge. Makif in Shloisha Chavolim. Zeh l'malam hazeh, v'zeh l'malam hazeh. So, oh boy, this is not in order. Here we go. Sukkah time. Yeah, you have 3 strings, and this creates a lavud. Now, if you think about it for a second, that only gives you 9 tfachim. Each string has to be slightly less than 3 tfachim. So 3 plus 3 plus 3, even I know what that is, it's 9. So, but you need a mechitz of 10. How do you get to 10? Says the Mishnah, now, you cannot have between each string rope 3 tvachim, a little bit less. Shiur chavolim ba'avion yosal tefach. Oh, shalom aleichem. The strings, these ropes, have to be a total of more than a tefach. Since you're going a little bit less than 3, so you're slightly less than 9 tvachim, so your actual ropes, look at this picture, he does it well, they're real thick. Together you add up, between the rope itself has to be a little bit more than a tefach to make up for that little bit less than 3 tvachim they have in between each rope. But a total, the bottom line is, total 10 tvachim. Makifim bekonim, konim. Konim are vertical. You stick broomsticks in the ground, vertical, otherwise known as chassis. Now, when we're talking about vertical and horizontal, vertical is chassis, because David Feinberg was asking me yesterday, what chassis was Erev? In a sukkah, on a schach, on a flat surface, there is no chassis in Erev. You could look at it from any direction. But when you're talking about up and down, the ones that are in the ground, vertical are chassis. We'll see later. Again, make sure that you don't have more than 3 tfachim between each one, so you can have lavud. Says the Gemara, says the Mishnah, b'shayara dibru. Divri Rabbi Yehuda, the Gemara is going to explain, but simple meaning, pshat, shayara is a caravan. These are people traveling. It's not an individual that decided to go on a hike and he starts making a camp. We'll see if that's true or not. It says, makif and shloi, the whole thing, we're talking about a shayara. Normally speaking, who makes a giant camp and starts taking animals? These are a whole busload of people do this, not an individual, but individual, if he wants to do this, let him be our guest. He could do it. Comes Rabbi Yehuda, the son of Rabbi Yehuda, who just said halach a second ago. Rabbi Yehuda says, you need also not only a horizontal, but you need a vertical. If you have vertical, you need a horizontal. This is no good. Unless you do something, every once in a while, you do some of these, you fill in the gaps. Stam, a long string is not good enough, says Rabbi Yehuda. It's not true. You can do whatever you want. You can do all strings or all poles. You don't need the 2. You don't need to mix them up. Says Rav, Harei Omru, Oymed Meruba ala Paretz B'Shesi Have Oymed. So we just said, when it came to, we started off today, the first thing that we said today, the first halacha was the campment. Remember this guy, the camp. What is this? Chassis or Erev? These are standing up things. These are suitcases standing this way. They're not suspended in the air like a rope. A camel is standing upwards. He's creating a mechitza of chassis. So we said, if there's more camel than open space, it's great. Everything else, if there's a gap somewhere, they're all considered openings. What about horizontal? Says the Gemara. We have to understand what he's talking about. We said that in order for horizontal ropes to work, they have to be a total of 10 tvachim. 3 gaps of a little less than 3 plus the ropes. V'yisa lomali yaser al tefach. Says Abaya, if you are right that you could have horizontal also, not only vertical. Lomali yaser al tefach li'evet pachas mishloisha v'chevel mashu. Pachas mishloisha v'chevel mashu. U pachas ma'arba v'chevel mashu. Says the Gemara. Then why do you have to have 3, 3, 3? You could have 3, 3, and 4. So the Gemara goes through every possibility. What are the 3 possibilities? That the 4 is on the bottom, that the 4 is in the middle, and the 4 is on the top. Says the Gemara, all these possibilities don't really work. Where are you going to put the 4? You're going to put it on the bottom. Picture if you want to see what it looks like. I don't know if this helps really. But 3, 3, and 4. But 4 we said is completely puzzle. Even according to Reb Gamliel, who holds that Lavad is 4, he holds in this case no Lavad. Why? Because a goat could go through. No good. Next. Now, if he put it on the top, the 4 is over here, 3, 3, and 4, a giant gap over here. And what is Rav Nun asking? That does a horizontal rope work? No, it doesn't work. Because if it works, you should put a 4. Says the Gemara, but you can't put a 4. Why? Mevatel what? Says the Gemara, the ear from this rope all the way to the sky, and this 4 tfachim right over here should cancel out this rope right over here. Now, if you say lavud, if you say it's 3 tfachim and this lavud, it can't cancel out because this is filled. How long is it filled? So this is solid. So there's nothing to cancel the rope. But you want to say that this is 4 tfachim and it's not solid, yet it should work because you have a horizontal mechitza. This horizontal mechitza goes bye-bye because the ear over here and the ear above it crushes it and destroys it and beats it. It's gone. Says the Gemara. So you have to say, now there's one left, one last one, middle. 3 over here, 3 on the bottom, and the 4 is in the gap over here. Now, we had a similar halacha already in the Masechta. Solid, that each solid by itself is less than the ear space in the middle, but the 2 solids together, 3 tvachim plus 3 tvachim, is 6 tvachim. But 3 is less than 4 in the middle, and 3. But the 6 together will overcome the 4 in the middle. The 6 solids on both sides, solid halachically, will overcome the 4 ear space in the center. So then you have solid on both sides of it. But that's not the halacha. That can't be. This is what he meant to ask. Let me show you the case. You leave 4 on the top and you carve out 3 in the center. So now you got rid of all the problems. This cannot be bottled to the ear because it's solid, it's 4. This gap over here is less than the one on top. There's less than 3 tefachim on the bottom, so I don't have goats going in there. So everything is good. It's less than 3 from the ground, so goat can't go in there. And Rav Ashi says, no, this is a different shaila. The shaila is, oops, I guess I didn't print it. Another one of those. Maybe it's somewhere here. The point is that this whole thing is solid. This whole thing is solid, and the question is, but it's hanging. It's hanging from the ground. Can a hanging wall that you find in ruins, could that be okay? Again, if you recall this sugya, that a guy made a little bit of mechitza so he could draw water, and that works when it comes to water. We made a special heter when it comes to water, but not in a regular mechitza. What should we do? It's a problem. Big problem. Should we do 2 more minutes? Let's see where we could go in 2 minutes. Makifim b'kanim. B'shayar im b'yachad loy. What? So it says in the Mishnah you can only do it for the public, for a lot of people. In other words, like 3 people, but not a single person. But it says Mefurish Rabbi Yehuda says you're allowed to go all the way to 2 saw, even for an individual. Why are you telling me that individual cannot make a camp? He can't make this together. More than 2 saw. You're right. Let's say an individual needs 5 saw. He has so many animals. He has so much going on. No, that's it. Only up to 2 saw for him. Where was it said? Where did it say it? Right here. In our Mishnah. Rabbi says a mechitza needs to have a horizontal and a vertical, otherwise it's not a mechitza. Ask the Gemara, did he really say that? That even an individual could make a camp, make a fence out of rope. But what's the difference? 1 or 2 people only get 2 saw, which is 5,000 amas. But once you have 3, you give them 6. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says specifically that an individual gets 2 saw. Why are you telling me in our Mishnah he doesn't get anything? Said Chachamim that you give him. It doesn't matter if you're individual or yachid. You give whatever he needs. Just make sure that he doesn't have any open space. That he's using all the space. He doesn't have 2 empty saw. So, but how do you explain Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda over here? He says that individual does get. Fine. Let's just stop over here, I guess, so we don't go too far overboard. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Welcome to all the new guys. It'll get easier. Trust me, if you came today, if today's your first day, Eruvin is not like that. Don't let it fool you. Shir Malois, nu?
Shir Malois, my mama can cross if Adonai. Adonai, Shema B'Kli Yitena Zecha Kashrasa Totach Adonai. Shema B'Kli Yitena Zecha Kashrasa Adonai Miyamo. Im Chas L'chol L'man Tivorei. Im Chas L'chol L'man Tivorei. כי מצד נגיב לנפשי וברכולתי. נפשי לעדי לא ישמעו לבויקה, שומרים לבויקה. קדוש. יהודי ישראל, מכל בני ישראל וכן בני ישראל. אתם שפים דברים Eli, Flybush actually also pointed out about your mother at the very beginning.
Oh! Shkoich Flybush. What is wrong with me? I can't. Whatever. You remember, every Thursday night cheer started like that. It became a habit. It's not a habit yet. You gotta. Charlie Harari said you gotta do it over and over, elasticity, and it becomes part of your brain. The whole matzav. Good morning, good morning. Avi Rosen from the Mir Yeshiva. You see this guy? Can't. Oh, hold on.
When did topics change? Get easier.
It's all easy. You didn't see what Kalman said. Kalman said it's not a big deal. You can't speak? I unmuted everybody. I don't know what's going on. I unmuted everybody. And if you want to speak, maybe you have to exit and come back in. I said Yeshua Aaron Price yesterday.
gmail.com. dafbrama, gmail.com. Eli, you don't unmute everyone. You have to allow people to unmute themselves. There are 3 dots on that section. And there's a thing. It's been changed now. It says allow participants to unmute.
Okay, I got it.
Lauren's going to comment. Eli, you just undid it.
I didn't touch it. It says allow participants to unmute themselves.
Have a nice day,
Have a great day, Rabbi Isai. Official, you heard about your friend Levi, Eli Levi? Poor guy. His mom is it's a rachmanis on him. He has to sponsor. I know what you did to him. You schlepped him into this whole mess.
welcome.
Joey from San Francisco, how you doing? Is it San Francisco? No, not San Francisco. From B. What's it called? Where is it, Joey? Where do you live? Can't hear.
Eli, don't forget to turn off YouTube at some point. Eli, before you turn off YouTube, there's a guy called Itzu Fried from Vienna who's just joined us for Eruvin. Itzu Fried.
Itzu Fried? His name is Itzu?
Itzu Fried.
Yitzchak Fried, Itzu Fried, Shalom Aleichem on YouTube. How are you? From Vienna. We love Vienna. Listen, we got to gear up for Eruvin. We got to get more exotic places. This whole Efrat business is not going to do it for us. We got to...
I think his daughter came to my seminary, Miriam Fried from Vienna.
Really? Noam Fix is sending regards to your Bnei B'shpacha. Hold on, let me flip this around. Hi Yoel, how are you?